Hello, my name is Christopher Frontiero. Um, I'm a senior at Michigan State University. I'm studying mechanical engineering, and I recently picked up a minor in cognitive science. And I have a full year and a half left of my undergrad. And aside from what I've been learning about in school, I am in like these hard senior engineering classes, whatever. Um, in my free time, though, I've been studying a lot of different things, a lot of different types. I've been building a foundation and background in different religions, different spiritualities, a lot of psychology, a lot of neuroscience, a lot of quantum physics. Um, and all the while I've been focusing a lot on my friendships and focusing a lot on my social life and just I've been building like a good understanding for how people seem to work and how people seem to think and how they seem to function. And this video is basically about like a summary of a lot of the dots that I've connected, a lot of the dots I'm trying to connect, a lot of the dots that maybe nobody has quite connected or talked about before, but I think about this kind of stuff all the time and it excites me and I'm passionate about it. And and I'm trying to talk to more people about it. And so I would maybe someday like to write a paper, write a book, pursue a PhD of some sort, doing research on this type of stuff. But this is just like an introduction into sort of my head and the type of stuff I've been thinking about and pondering on. And I'm hoping to introduce you to some new ideas. And I'm also trying to keep this video to be understandable by a broad audience. Because I think this stuff is important and I think it's exciting and I'm passionate about it. I'm just gonna keep repeating myself, but yeah. So I want to start with a quote from Nikola Tesla. Okay. Now I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but Nikola Tesla was an absolute genius, inventor, thinker, engineer. Look him up. Just look him up. You probably know who he is. But he said before he died, he said, if you want to figure out the secrets of the universe, think in terms of, I don't know if you can read this, energy, frequency, and vibration. Something along those lines. Okay. And this semester, I was taking a vibrations class in engineering. My professor was absolutely terrible. I'm not giving him any credit uh, as far as what he taught me about vibrations. But you know, having terrible professors will teach you different things about life and learning. So I had a beneficial experience. Anyways, mechanical vibrations, you're gonna be exposed to a diagram like this, where you got a mass on springs, and you've got supports, and you've got dampers, and you've got pendulums, and all this wonderful stuff. Okay, um, but basically, so much of everything that we model in computers is based on like something like this, like even okay, electronics, circuitry. So much of it can be modeled using a system like this, where you've got like a spring, we've got springs, and you've got masses, units, and walls and dampers. I'm not going to talk about what a damper is. Look it up. And you've got like these mass values and these K values, the spring constants. It's all really mathematical and crazy and boring. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now I'm going to tell you a little story. This is a little diagram of a brand new bench on the Red Cedar River on Michigan State's campus. And it just appeared suddenly this year. It overlooks the river. It's a swinging bench, and it is suspended by springs. Okay. Now, I was sitting on this bench one night. I was just sitting with myself, sitting with my own thoughts. And I was sitting crisscross applesauce on the bench, completely still, with my eyes closed, and the bench, stopped swinging and was just still. And I was sitting super still on this bench. And basically, I was so still that I could feel my entire heartbeat vibrating and reverberating throughout my entire body. And it's because the bench was suspended by springs, and the bench was allowing my body to vibrate and resonate at whatever frequency it wanted to. And it was very therapeutic. It was very magical, beautiful experience. Okay. And I had this like aha moment. I felt like Isaac Newton when the apple hit his head. Okay. And I started thinking about, oh my goodness, vibration. Okay. Everything is vibration. Everything is blah, 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 blah. Everything is energy. Yeah, cool. Maybe you've heard that before. But literally it is, okay? And vibration is so important to humans and to consciousness. And I just feel like not enough people talk about it enough. And one of the, okay, two big examples I'm going to bring, three big examples, okay? When you're cradling a baby, when you're comforting a baby, you're like, when a baby is crying, you hug it, and you give it a little shake, and it like brings the baby comfort. You're like you're shaking it, you're vibrating it, which is cool. Also, athletes, when you're running, look at an Olympic runner. Okay, head is completely still, body is completely still. Basically, you're using every aspect of your feet and your legs to absorb every vibration. And your body like is obviously vibrating, but okay, running, babies. The third example is sleeping. I don't know if you know what a spring damper is, but basically a spring damper is used to absorb vibration, okay? And every night you go to bed on you go to bed on a big spring damper, okay? And it literally just like absorbs your movement. It absorbs your vibration. It makes you still. It makes you stay still, okay? And that's wonderful. It helps you relax. And guess what? If you're doing things that make, you're creaking around, there's a lot of different things you can do on a bed that will make the bed squeak and vibrate if you're moving aggressively enough, okay? The bed will start to squeak. It'll annoy the heck out of you. That's vibration too. That's all vibration, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. Vibration's really important, okay? That's just a little background in vibration. Now, I'm going to start getting into some psychology concepts, okay? And I'm going to come over here. Hopefully I'm still in frame. I'm definitely still in frame. And I'm going to talk about this little diagram I've got going on here. And What does it look like? It looks like a tree, and it's got a top half and it's got a bottom half. Now, you know that every tree you see every day, you can touch it and you can see it, but you know that every tree you see every day has roots. And you know that the roots go deep down, just as deep as it grows high. And you don't have to see the roots to know they're there. Okay? There's a lot of things that humans do not have to see to know that they are there. There are a lot of things that humans do not need to prove or quantify to prove that they exist. For an example, you cannot find a neuroscientist. No, you can't find a surgeon who can cut up a person's brain and say, look, there's the goals, there's the dreams, there's the aspirations. There, okay. Now, feelings, emotions, of course they have a chemical makeup. Of course they have chemical relevance. Of course there is a logical, scientific, mathematical system that describes these things. But what I'm trying to say is there is more. There is more that we haven't seen yet. There's more we haven't figured out yet. And um, and we talk about it every day. And I drew this diagram to not just show a drawing of a tree, but to show consciousness, okay? The top half of the tree is waking reality, the reality that we interact with every day. Um, Physical, 3D stuff, science, proof, life, and this line and this roots, this darkness, this is supposed to represent our subconscious, our unconscious, our sleeping reality, our internal reality, everything that goes on in our minds, everything that goes on beneath the surface in everyday life. The stuff we can't quite prove, the stuff we can't quite quantify. But it's there, man. Are you serious? You really think it's not there? It's so there. Have you ever read a book ever? Like, we cannot continue ignoring everything that is hinted at in religion, in spirituality, in stories, art, expression, creation. What is that? Why can we do it? Now, maybe you've been asking yourself these questions before. Maybe you're ready to have these conversations. Maybe all of this is silly and stupid and below your level, whatever. But as a society, we need to start having more conversations about this kind of stuff. Because the solutions to a lot of our problems are lying beneath the surface. And I think so many people aren't conscious of that because they're too busy up here. And they're too afraid to explore themselves. They're too afraid, and I don't blame them. The world is a terrifying place if you let it be. Anyways, so okay, yeah. Here's a big concept. Energy, frequency, vibration.